Good morning. Well, I managed to do it somehow. 3 for 3 for things interrupting me before I start stream this morning. And this one was, a phone call I really didn't want. Is all I'll say about that. It's nothing serious, it's just like a phone call that started an argument that I needed to, like, just settle down from. I should have tweeted out something like, hey, gonna be a minute on the phone, blah blah blah, but, like, I was just fucking... I really, really wish some people would listen sometimes. Just realized I don't have a move button here. Hello? Stream manager? Where'd you go? Oh, there you are. Okay, good. Oh, we've actually got a stable connection today, too. Nice. It's about damn time it worked out for once. I really wish I could figure out what was actually the deal there. Because, like, I don't just want to chalk it up as, Twitch is doing something weird because of that one time that it actually did seem to affect the stream. But when there's, like, when there's nothing to go on the OBS side, I don't really know what to do about it. Oh. Okay, I'm pretty sure that's just construction outside. Anyway. Yeah, so, on the agenda for today is pretty much just finish the White Mage quests. I have a few thoughts on what I could do after that, but that's going to be the primary thing here. I just want to wrap up the White Mage quests, which signifies me going through all of the job quests. I'm thinking I might do a New Game Plus on the jobs that I didn't stream, just kind of remind myself of what happened with those. Because eventually I think it'd be fun to do like a tier list of the job and class quests. Maybe the role quests get included into that? I don't know. It's like, I feel like keeping the role quests out of it. Like, the role quests I don't think are enough to do on themselves, but there's a lot to discuss with the class and job quest as is. So, yeah. So yeah. Why don't we get started? Okay, I think this is just literally the last quest before the level 80 follow-up in Shadowbringers. So yeah. Yep. I actually finally get plenary indulgence. I got up to level 80 without it. Well, I mean, I don't think it's, like, super necessary. It's obviously another tool in your kit. Similar to, it feels like a bit horoscope, but for, like, kind of just getting an additional hot on everyone. Well, either that or it's a one-off. I'm pretty sure triggers an additional healing effect means that it pops once. It's not a regen. Which would make sense, because the duration's not a multiple of 3, which it would need to be to get equal ticks out, if it was. Yeah, anyway. So, if I recall correctly, so, up until this point, in the Stormblood side of the quests, we have noticed a weird child who seems to be who void sense seem to be gathering around. Sylphie took it upon herself to kind of investigate, and we've been trying to hide these details from Gridania, essentially. Well, Pajal and Gridania. And through that we find a mother who, like, essentially ran away from Gridania after she found out her child was a Pajal, to be able to give her a normal life. But obviously that has required kind of living out here in the middle of nowhere, just kind of hunting for food and that, and not really, basically just, like, permanently hiding for the rest of their lives. Then, like, we've kind of gotten softened up the mother a bit to kind of figure out what's up. And then I think we found out that she was, like, suffering from some kind of sickness, which was causing stress for her kid, which was leading to more void scent being called. I can't remember if, off the top of my head, if the kid, actually tried to use her powers. I seem to recall she might have, but it has also been a while. I want to try... Oh, I don't have many job quests to go anymore, so it's not really going to be that much of a problem. But I think for side quests in particular, I need to, like, do this a bit more consistently. Obviously, if, like, 14's a low-key thing for me when I can stream it, because it's not a huge amount of effort to kind of go through. It's a little bit of talking here and there, but then it's, like, a lot of MMO gameplay, which, you know, can kind of handle, but... Yeah, this is one of the problems that happens when I haven't been doing this consistently. Anyway, Sylphie appears to be overwhelmed. Come to look in on us, have you, Arlene? Brother Isumi will soon be here to gauge Gatti's progress. Oh, right, we were going to try and... Basically, the deal with, name... Isumi. The deal with Isumi is basically if Gatti can prove that they can... they have control over their powers, well, her powers, she can stay. Like, she doesn't need to come back to Gridania or anything like that. But, obviously, if she doesn't, then, yeah, whoops, I didn't mean to progress that. The studies have actually been going rather well. It's Sanshi I'm worried about. Please don't say anything to Gatti yet, but I fear her mother may be near her time. Oh, no. I've suspended lessons for the moment, and had the two of them spend every waking moment together. Treating Sanshi has left me too exhausted to teach, in any case. As for medicine, another batch should have arrived at the castrum by now. I need to draw the spring water I used to dilute the dose, so would you mind picking up the delivery from the sutler for me? We'll be back here. We'll meet back here. I can absolutely do that. God. I think like seeing a lot of the weather effects in Dawn Trail and stuff like that has made me realize how kind of off some of them are. And I just realized like the way the fog was being done there was basically just having a texture centered on the player far off, or like off in the distance. And it's... Huh? What? What's going on here? Don't know what that's about. Yeah, like... I think also just returning to a Stormblood area for the first time in a while, where, like, the texture work has definitely shown its age. It kind of makes it stand out a bit. Hey, less than a month until Dawn Trail. I think, like, 3 weeks until Dawn Trail. How the fuck did that turn up so quickly? Oh, God. Hi. You come on young Sylphie's behalf, have you? Well, I've got her delivery here. Rush it through on the back of our swiftest chocobo. Seems her patient's in a bad way, eh? Well, I'll say my own prayers to the matron and hope the medicine does the trick. Thanks, man. Okay, something to note here is that, like, Sylphie seems to have ingratiated herself to people here fairly quickly. I guess, like, depending on how you read it, she's been in the region for a while, so, like, it kind of does make sense. But also the fact that everyone's kind of, like, helping this, like, really young person with this kind of shit. Music? Why'd the music disappear? Hello? Wait, did that happen because I, like, hit the side of that? No, there it is. Maybe the track's just like that. I haven't been in Stormblood areas, or this area in particular in a while, so... Can't remember off the top of my head whether that track is meant to go like that. Oh no. Sash? Gaddy? Please, no more hiding now. Oh, where could they have gone? Sophie seems to be in a panic. Do your best to soothe her. Soothe. We'll find them. It always works out, right? The Warrior of Light is here. Everything's gonna be alright. Right? Aldine, Thank you. If I ever need your calming presence, it's now. I came back with the spring water to find Gaddy's hat upon the floor, and the two of them vanished. Oh no. Sanchi could barely move. Where in Heidelin could they have gone? They can't have got far. You're right. Gaddy's been doing wonderfully with her training, so there's no reason for them to run away. Oh, I think I might have it. I've heard Sanchi, talking about a cave called the Comet's Tail, and how she wanted to visit it again before it was too late. I said we'd head straight there when she was well enough, but she may have convinced Gatti to help sneak her out. Brother Izumi is likely on his way. I'll go and intercept him while you head to the cave. If you find them there, make sure Sanchi takes her medicine. Okay. Can't wait for them both to have attracted a lot of void scent. Cave? Yeah. Gosh dang it. Oh boy, an encounter too. Mama, don't leave me. Please, you have to help her. Oh boy. Herbal remedy. A potent concoction of herbs used to alleviate the symptoms of severe heart conditions. Oh dear. Mama? Mama, please. Don't leave me alone. Why isn't the medicine working? Mama! Mama! Open your eyes! Can't. I'm losing control. No. I must own my fear. Feel the ground beneath my feet. The flow of wind and water. Nicely done, Gatti. You have made remarkable progress since last we met. Aldine, Sylphie, you have instructed her well. Don't worry, we'll look after your mama. Beautiful. Thank you for bringing me here one last time. Don't say that, Mama. I'll learn conjury, and once you're better, we can come here every day. Aldine, it is thanks to your and Sylphie's efforts that Sanchi has held on this long. And yet, there are limits to the healing arts. Each life comes to an end, and even a conjurer cannot undo that which fate has ordained. Take heart, however, knowing that your care and attention is what has allowed these irreplaceable moments between mother and daughter. My precious girl. You filled my days with love. But I was selfish. That selfishness has brought you pain. For that I am truly sorry. Mama. My love. My light. I pray you find such happiness as I have known. Thank you. All of you. Watch over her. No. No. No! This can't be happening. I promise, Mama. Ooh, those teeth did not look good. Oh, she held on. Oh no. What? So very close. Heed my words, then. How long has this fiend lurked with Sanchi, awaiting this very moment? Terrible child, dragging around your sick mother. You have killed her. Accept the evil you have done. Atone with your very life. But I didn't... I killed her? Ignore it, Gatti! Oh no. But I did bring Mama here. It was me. I killed her. Whoa. Oh god. Void Scent has sunk its hooks into Gatti's spirit. We must destroy it. Her life force is drained away. Okay, this had a far more interesting ending than I ever thought this would, to be honest. Like, I knew we were gonna do a fight of Void Scent, but also the kind of, like, framing here is pretty excellent. Ooh. Oh my god. Okay, yep. That was something, alright. Oh, for fuck's sake. Huh? I thought I sooned that. Fuck, I must have gotten, thingy. Must have gotten stunned as I was doing that. Oh, god damn it. Oh god, there's a lot of talking going on right now that... Huh? Where is she? Oh, yep. Benny. Alright, come on down here, you coward. Draw on your strength. Remember your mother's love. I'm in control now. Thank you. Holy shit. Okay, outside of the last little bit there that was just like hammering the boss, that was actually one of the better like conclusions to one of the job quest. That's kind of crazy. And like, oh man, this is the thing that's crazy, right? Because during the Conjury and some of the earlier White Mage quests, I was just like, not enough of this is cohesive, right? Not enough of it is really leaning into the, dressing up what you're doing, right? Because, like, yeah, ultimately, I'm just playing White Mage in that scenario, right? Dodging a few AoEs, trying to keep everyone healed up, trying to kill enemies before they come out of portals. It's really standard stuff, right? But, like, the context and how that's presented can often add a lot to it. Like, you know, how do I put this? Because it could have just gone, oh, okay, here's a bunch of mechanics and, like, you know, or, like, in the lead up to this scenario happening, it could have just been like, oh no, she died, and then she loses control, and then voids and pop out. Oh, look, it's the thing that's been happening this entire questline. Who could have guessed? And then we fight the Void Scent. It has some mechanics, and it's over, right? But, like, the whole emotional kind of through line leading up into the battle, and then, like, having Gatty, like, also explode and hurt us in amongst all of that stuff, with, like, all of the dialogue that was also going on in there, too. Revile what you have become, murderer. Surrender your life to me. We will help Gatty resist this trance, but the Void Sen must be slain. And like showing us the effect that was having on Gatty from her perspective too, like made it look a lot more serious than it would if she just went, oh yeah, I'm a murderer, and just we had to go, oh well, we have to kill the Void Sen. Like there's a lot of, I just realized I didn't put eye drops in. I even took the cap off earlier and just didn't fucking do it. Ugh. Sorry. I hate to interrupt my discussion with that, but gotta look after my fucking eyes. Yeah, so like there's a lot to the presentation there that was just actually really good, and it was stuff that was really lacking from before, where it was just like, interact with this thing to heal it, do stuff like that. Whereas it could have been a bit more interactive, or like dressed up a little bit more as like, oh, this is kind of serious actually, or like, if not mechanically, then like, what's the word I'm looking for here? Not like aesthetically, but like from a narrative design perspective, a bit more than just interact with thing to interact with it, right? There's just a lot of that was missing throughout like the earlier quest lines that I think this one actually hit the nail on the head. Like that felt like one of the more like engrossing kind of duties that's happened, and that includes even like the one that was at the end of Heavensward, which like was probably more mechanically interesting. It was probably on par, but just kind of like because of all of the story leading up to it didn't really land. And I think that's another thing here too that's worth noting, is that like when the story isn't flubbing and it's actually, or fumbling, and it's actually building to an emotional kind of through line and a peak, these job quests are really good. Like, the duty that would otherwise be just fighting another Void Sen feels impactful, and, all it takes is, like, one or two, insightful game design decisions within those duties to make it feel really, like, impactful. Like, Gatty explodes and practically kills all of us, and, I need to heal everyone back up. Like, it's just, like, something that's completely unexpected. If anything else, I would have liked that to happen again in amongst that portal summoning bit, because it just kind of petered out towards the end there. And, throwing in a mechanic or two during the Void Sen fight would have been cool too. I don't know if that's just a gear thing though, because like obviously this is balanced for level 70, but not synced down from level 80, level 70. It was very two different things. But yeah, that was good. That was really good. I was kind of expecting to be just like, oh yeah, here we go. We're going to finish up the White Mage questline, and it's not going to be very interesting. But nope, they did probably the most interesting duty so far. And not even from a mechanical perspective. They just, like, they showed the Gatty was, in control, and then they just took everything away from her, out from underneath her. And not in a, like, oh, you killed your mother, not just, oh, you killed your mother, but, like, I'm stealing your mother's ether. Your mother is gone. You brought her here. You killed her. And then seeing the effect that has on Gatty just, like, sells that so much more. Holy shit. This is one of those times where, like, everything's kind of mundane, and then you see, like, a bright spot, and you're like, Oh my god! Intrigue. Interesting thing happening. Oh my god. Doesn't really blow it out of the water up with some of the better job quests, but yeah. Gaddy is a fighter, but I think she needs a strong shoulder right now. With the Void Scent vanquished, Gaddy has been freed of its debilitating influence. You need not fear her losing control again. It still did take her mum, though. Which is fucking rough. Mama died as if I'd fallen into a deep, dark hole. My mind was full of screaming. And then I heard your voices from somewhere far away calling me back. I heard Mama's voice too. That's when I knew that she would always be at my side. I'll do my best to make her proud of me. With the strength you've shown, there is already much of which to be proud of. Your ether is tranquil, calm. I see no need to enforce further training at the guild, though its doors are open to you nonetheless. Will you return with us to Gridania? I'd always thought Mama wanted to live alone with me, away from other people, so I tried to forget about wanting friends or traveling to other places. But now I think she really wanted us to let me find my... What she really wanted was to let me find my own way. Thanks to Sylphie's lessons, there's no need to hide in the forest anymore. I will go to Gridania. I want to study more conjuring and learn to fight fiends as well as Aldine. Hell yeah. I still have so much to learn from Sylphie. We'll keep studying together, I promise. Although we both have far to go before we're a match for Aldine. Oh well, Sylphie. Making promises to study. It would seem that mentoring Gatti has been proven beneficial to you both. Rub it in, old man. This time we were on our way. We shall hold a memorial for Sanchi, then see about settling you into your new life at Stillglade Fane. By the way, Aldine, what happened to your regular white mage outfit? I don't understand why you look like Crypt Keeper. Seems a bit more of a black mage get up to me if you're... But, listen, I don't understand fashion. Yippee! Thus concludes the White Mage quest for Stormblood. In order to take on the next thing... Complete Shadowbringers. Completed the role of Soul of Temperance. Once you've done so, next White Mage quest will be available from Rayo Center. Hey, can we visit the kids? Can we not talk to the other Pagol? Can we not? I would really like it if we could not. That'd be neat. Did I already have plenary? Yes, I did. On 2, where Horoscope is. Cool. Yeah, that actually had a far more satisfying conclusion than I would have thought. I will say, there's a risk sometimes when you do the whole, okay, let me set this up a bit first. So, the whole thing in this leg of the quest line is that, actually, let me walk over to... Oh, actually, no, I'm in the wrong place. I need to go to... you, I think. So yeah, the whole setup is... Mother takes her daughter away from society that would push her into a very specific position because of her birthright, or because of her birth, due to circumstances of her birth. Words. And ultimately, that child learns that that was what she wanted. She wanted her not to specifically be in Gridania, but to choose her own way, by her own thing, right? And, you know, through circumstances that are not resolving the actual cultural problems that I would, what I would call problems of forcing people to do the things Pajol do just because they are Pajol. The ultimate through line is that Getty gets to actually choose what they do for their life. And I don't remember this area's music being this loud. Did I? It's a little louder than usual, but there you go. The through line being what it is, you can have a situation where the character, in this case Getty, ends up choosing the thing that this person wanted them to get away from, right? And, like, I've made it no secret that I don't really like any of the setup or storytelling in Gridania. And a lot of that has to do with the nature of the elementals and the Pajal and the rules that kind of, like, work into that. So, like, on one hand, well, yeah, and in that situation, there is a risk that just going, well, I'm just going to go back and do the thing my parent didn't want me to, or that took me away from specifically, can feel a little bit like an unearned resolution to that, if that makes sense. Like, like it's kind of glossing over the cultural aspects of it, or the actual problems that cause these things to, or this parent to have acted the way she did. And in that sense, I don't think the story... Well, first off, I don't think the story was looking to do that. This was more, examining, well, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just coming off... Maybe recency bias coming off the high of that duty is kind of making me rethink this a little bit. But it is certainly true that, like, there's a lot of criticism that you could levy diegetically toward the, toward Gridania and the way that Pajal are treated. And it would certainly be poetic for, Getty to get offered the opportunity to go back to Gridania on her own terms and not accept that because she thinks she can handle herself. But then there's also the practicality of, like, yeah, I mean, even if you don't like Gridania, that is where all the Pajal are, and where Conjury is kind of, like, learnt and respected. So it makes sense to go there at some point, even if just temporarily. And that can be used as a justification to avoid the fact that this person would be stepping right back into the situation. But I will say that the one thing I think this situation does do is make sure that Isana is very clear on you don't need the required training. We can let you be. But, you know, if you want to learn more, like, you're always welcome. And barring, like, a specific refusal to go there immediately, that can still be enough concession for that character to essentially be there on her own terms, not in the situation her parents were trying to avoid her being born into. I don't think it did the best... I don't think it did the best job of portraying that, other than that line from him, from the Guildmaster. But I don't think... it's not lost on me that that is at least, like, kind of part of the point. Yeah, it's just... unfortunately, this, I think, has a better arc than most of the other stories. It's just that it is the third in a row where we're kind of just letting the elementals and the way of life from Gridania just be without criticism outside of, oh yeah, it kind of sucks that it forces people into this situation. Anyway, Like, and I know part of the justification is, like, the Pajol not trained can be preyed on the Void Sen. That was a big part of this whole through line. But, it doesn't mean... what remains to be seen is, like, okay, granted, that is true. So, but you don't just train the Pajol, you have them fulfill this specific role in society, and some of them might not want to. And that didn't change. You just gave an exception to this person because, well, they actually managed to handle themselves without our teaching, so I guess they're fine. It's like, okay, well, what if they weren't? Still gonna kidnap them and, like, put them into service and shit like that. Yeah, anyway. I'm not a particular fan of the way that this whole stuff is written, like, to be clear, but... Whence the healing springs. Oh my god, is it all three of them? That would be amazing. From every single corner of the White Mage quests, except these, for directly dealing with these two. Ryo Senna seems in a nostalgic mood. Aldine, how fare you in your studies of the White? Since your magics have grown even stronger since last we met. Speaking of old acquaintances, do you recall Alaka? The Ori girl, responsible for the taint and its corruption. As a form of atonement, she has begun training in the art of conjuring. Mayhap you could stop by Stillglade Fane and look in on her for me? I'm sure she would be glad of the visit. You might also come across Gatti whilst you are in town. Considering her unorthodox upbringing, my fellow Pajal has been given leave to roam somewhat more freely than might otherwise be allowed. Do give my regards to her and Sylphie, should you see them. Oh, okay, so she's still kind of... She is still kind of on... that sucks. I was hoping she'd get, like, away... Like, actually, no, she's just completely free to do what she wants. But, no, then it's just like, oh, yeah, a little bit more than we would otherwise. It's like, wasn't the whole point giving her autonomy was important because she didn't actually need the lesson? Like, what? Wasn't that the point? It's like, oh yeah, you don't need further training, that's fine. But you are welcome to come and study. Surprise. You have to. You stepped into Gridania, that means you're here forever now. I'm curious if they'll go into detail on that. Because obviously, this being the Shadowbringers quest, this is like after some time has passed from the questline we just wrapped up. And it would be cool to kind of see what, if anything, has actually changed. There you are. God, it's been a while. Aldine, Ryo Senna sent you to see me. As I thought as much. I did not imagine you would seek me out of your own accord, considering how I once wished you dead. But I promise I have changed. I'm doing as they ask of me. At least I'm trying to. My attempts at curing spells are abysmal. I perform the exercises of the Seed Seer has taught me, but it would seem I am unsuited to the healing arts. Being an outsider, it is difficult for me to make friends here. Although there are two young ladies who do seem eager to include me in their chatter. I bet I know who. Alaka, I didn't know you knew Aldine. Were you two talking about your adventures? I want to hear about adventures. Yeah, okay, so... Promise you won't tell everyone else in the guild. You know, Alaka might have corrupted the land and actually seriously endangered the elements all out of spite. We could just keep this between us, right? Oh, me too, me too. Can we stay and listen? I suppose Aldine doesn't mind. Great! What kind of tale will you tell? Tale of a man who crossed time and space to save the world. And me. Tale of a woman who flew in the face of everything to save her beloved family. Giot's questline. Right. I forget the Warrior of Darkness's, Lalafell's name. Dwarf's name. What a wonderful sister she must be. What a lovely story. I want to be able to do that to protect people, but I'm probably going to need a lot more training. Then why don't we all go and train right now, together? And we can work on becoming just like the person Aldine told us about. Yes, that's a wonderful idea. Alika, you and Aldine both have to come with us. It'll be so much more fun with the four of us. If you insist. I say we head out to the hedge tree and practice listening to the whispers of the forest. Come on, everyone, follow me. Kind of surprised we didn't dwell on that tale a bit more, but we might be going out to do that, so... Not gonna preempt the game like that. I'll wait until wait to see if it actually does it. Oh. What did I do? What can I do? Huh. That's weird. Where is Getty? Aldine, the Ixal, they stabbed a sword into the hedge tree. The elementals really didn't like that. Before we knew it, we were attacked by a tree and... It must be some sort of revenge on Gridania. The Ixal are trying to cause panic or chaos, or... Gaddy wanted to try calming the spirits. So he led Mr. Smashy Branches here away. I only just managed to take it down. My own conjury was too weak to be of consequence. Sylphie was forced to expend too much ether to ensure the creature's defeat. Don't worry about me. It's Gaddy who needs help. The elementals were furious, and there's no way she could soothe their anger alone. Please, hurry, Aldine. She needs you. Okie dokie. It's like, oh, you're telling me a part of the White Mage questline was dealing with the fucking elementals. Wow, that's fucking crazy, dude. Oh. Aldine, thank goodness. I pulled out the sword, but the elementals lashed out. They wouldn't listen to me. Please, you have to calm them. If another one of those treants goes after Sylphie and Alika... Gazzy, you look hurt. I want to heal you, but I've no ether left to cast spells. Alika, you'll have to do it. Me? But I cannot... Puppy dog eyes. You must! Can't you see she's in pain? I want to help, but my conjury is so weak, I will try. No one should suffer so. Thank you, Alika. I feel so much better now. Your healing was like being wrapped in a soft, warm blanket. I am glad to hear that, Gatty. To be honest, I did not expect the spell to work at all, but it did. And thank you too, Aldine. I never knew the elementals could get that mad. Phew, I have a long way to go before I'm as strong as you. You sure do. Few is the word for it. I think Brother Isumi, oh, did I say Isana? Isumi owes us a reward after all that hard work. Oh, Selfie. Alika? I don't think I've ever seen you laugh before. This day really has been full of surprises. Uh-oh. Haha, you had a heartfelt moment. Alika's not much for talking, but she really is the sweetest girl at heart. Alika is even prettier when she laughs, don't you think? I would, but that's a little too close to you look better. You would look so much better with a smile. It's not untrue, but like, yeah. I don't know. That kind of thing has been tainted for me since, like, a lot of people are really shit about references to that. Thank you, Aldine. If you hadn't come along, I may have lost the first few friends I've ever had. That's what Aldine does. He's always our hero when we need one. That's right. In fact, both of you were heroes today. I would hardly say I was heroic. I'm serious. You need to tell Brother Isumi how incredible your country is now. Again, I think you praise me overmuch, but we should certainly report this incident and let him know you are safe and sound. Let's head back then. I think I'm ready for a cup of tea and a nice long nap. Aldine? I may just find my place here after all. Fucking wheat bix in my throat. Listening to your tale earlier, I was convinced there was no one in my life I cared about that much. Or who cared about me. Then I saw how Gatty was hurt. Never felt my heart beat so wildly. Never felt such relief as I did when my spell healed her. I wonder, was this how the people in your adventures felt too? I will continue with my studies. And then should you need me, should any of you need me, I will be ready. Would you mind letting Rhea O know of my decision to stay on? I'm a little embarrassed to display all this sentiment in front of the Seed Seer. I kind of hope we get some follow-ups with, everyone's job quests. Like, I understand there's only so much you can do with, like, each job until you're kind of, like, treading, until you're walking well-worn ground. But just, like, a little thing like this of just, like, hey, how has the guilds been holding up with everything that's going on? Yeah, like, especially kind of in Dawn Trail would be a neat opportunity for that to come back, because it's, like, sometime after the, sometime after the End of Days visited. It'd be really cool. And I think there's just, like, especially for the newer jobs, I definitely think there's still, like, a lot more room for them to develop and kind of be explored. like, some of the old ones, like, you know, Summoner and stuff like that, it's a bit more understandable that, like, yeah, at some point, like, you're just telling the same story over and over again. Like, not that you can't make that work, but, like, the increased work on every single front for every single job, the amount of the what's the word I'm looking for? Not reasonability, but like the practicality of continuing to write like the 10th story for jobs that have been around since A Realm Reborn. It makes sense that they shifted more to rolled quests to kind of like have a bit more story in all of them rather than splitting up those resources amongst like 20 jobs and then half-assing some of them, if I'm being honest. But having these kinds of things, like in Shadowbringers, where just, like, every expansion or so you get a little catch-up on what's been going on, it seems like it would make sense. I think specifically, you know, maybe not directly in Endwalker when, like, things have just popped off, but, like, in Dawn Trail it'd be a good opportunity to see, like, hey, what happened during, the final days with Ymitra? What happened to, you know, what was the Gladiator and Monk and Pugilist guilds doing during that time? Were they affected at all? I mean, you know, I say Gladiator and, like, I'm asking for Paladin quests to come up, but, like, yeah. Still, it's a good idea, I think. Aldine, you're to return to me with word of Alaka. Yeah, she's good now. I was of a mind to investigate the disturbance myself when it suddenly subsided. Just fortunate you were nearby. I'm heartened to hear that Alaka has at last awakened her talent for conjury. I suspected it was not her potential nor lack of learning which stymied her progress, but a matter of confidence. Her shift in perspective was encouraged in no small part of your inspiring presence, I am certain. But do not allow such praise to deter you from perfecting your own art. Mastery of white magics is a road which never truly ends, Aldine. I expect to hear even greater things from you next we meet. Don't you worry. Yeah. That's the White Mage quests. So I'm probably gonna do a dungeon or two just to, like, shoot the shit about healing. Like, at this point, there's a couple of things we could go with. Because, like, so one of the things that's happening in Dawn Trail that I'm a little nervous about is that we're going to be doing Savage. I'm pretty sure day 1, and I'm gonna be healing. And I have never healed progression rating at all, like not even during my WoW days. So it's gonna be a new thing for me. And because of that, I've been like playing all of the healers again. Like, I'm probably going to go with Sage. Sage is just the one I know I've got the intuition and muscle memory for. But I've been going over them again to kind of, like, get my head around them. And this might be a good opportunity to talk about, like, what I'm planning to do for Dawn Trail, talking about, like, just Dawn Trail changes that are happening, stuff like that. But before we get to that, White Mage quests. So I liked Conjury. I like the Conjurer quests. I think there was a lot there to dig into, in terms of, you know, the establishment of what Conjury is. Sylphie obviously being a huge role, playing a huge role later on aside. Sylphie's kind of situation in being quite adept at white magic, but being untrained, and the dangers of being untrained in what is essentially white magic. Yeah, it was really compelling, and I like that a lot. You know, it didn't have to be completely groundbreaking. Like, I'm not expecting every quest line, especially the class quests, where you're dealing with, like, the very rudimentary elements of all these things. I'm not expecting it to be, like, the most compelling story in the world. But I think it was really compelling. When we got into the White Mage quests, though, was when we got further and further into territory I've talked about a fair bit here that I just don't like. I don't like the riding around Gridania. I don't like the riding around the Elementals. I don't like the riding around the Pagel. It's anathema to me. It is not good storytelling to me. I cannot enjoy the storytelling in Gridania the way it's being done. I've talked about that a lot. But one thing I want to re-highlight real quick, and this is going to actually link into something I have to say about the another healer, but the change that happens in White Mage is moving further away from the literal elements, and the deeper you go, it's more just white magic. And from an aesthetic perspective, I get it. I don't enjoy it, but I bet a lot of people do. And I'm not here to say that those are bad. But I think one of the things that honestly gets lost here that would have been really interesting storytelling is cultural relationship to the land. So, when you are a conjurer, you draw upon the land for power. You use wind, water, earth, all those elements to be able to heal, to defend yourself, to shield, right? And the relationship one has with the land, I think, is I talked about this a little bit in, I think it was Heavensward, where cultural relationship to the land is really interesting to see across, like, cultures. Because a lot of different peoples have different mythologies and stories about the way the world works, and oftentimes that speaks to how the land is treated. Obviously, there are a lot of indigenous peoples whose relationship to the land is quite strong in terms of it being incredibly important that you are not unnecessarily bulldozing things. To use more contemporary examples, you should be careful of what you're bulldozing. Your impact on the ecosystem, all of that is of abundant importance. Whereas obviously in other places, and pretty dominant places, it's not. But that aside, I think there's interesting character between all of those beliefs, though. Obviously, there are some through lines here and there because of the nature of we all share the same Earth and that, or the people of Eorzea all share the same planet and elements and all that stuff. But the way they characterize these things might be different. The way Ishgardians think about the elements and that is probably going to be different from those in Hingashi. Same with the people in Gridania. Same with the people in Garlemald, right? All four of those peoples have very different relationships with the land and the things that it gives them. And obviously this leans towards, like, the kind of, actually, let me go to some place that actually has some music we can listen to. Because this being just be completely silent over that's, not helping my thought process. That kind of perspective often leans into the more stereotypical depiction of shamans, right? Shamanistic practices and things like that. Which Conjury does seem to draw from to some degree, but I think it's honestly pretty disappointing to see it just start off like that and then veer off into something, like, completely different, or completely above that, if that makes sense. And specifically by personifying the relationship with, the land through the elementals, these beings that essentially aren't reasonable and aren't, like, thinking beings to be, negotiated with or things like that. I think they tried to lean away from doing that because... I think they tried to lean away from the relationship with the land because of that, because there's some weird ties there. But, like, I really don't like the decision to just kind of say, oh yeah, the elementals are applicable across all the lands, and that's it, right? Like, that's just it. The elementals in Gridania are not just the spiritual or actualization of the force of nature in Eorzea specifically. It is the entire planet, right? It's the same in Hingashi, it's the same in Old Sharlayan. They're all the same. And I think, and not only that, but the people, we don't really get insight into how the people relate to the land there either. And I think that's just like, I think that definitely can be fraught of a writing challenge, and particularly when there's definitely been some situations with 14 writing that hasn't been the best about handling stuff like that. But I do think there is like a real missed opportunity to examine how conjury or white magic might be different across cultures. How they take the same power and, like, use it differently and things like that. And, more importantly, I would have loved to have seen something actually challenge the way that, Gridanians and the Pajol wield white magic. That, like, you know, wind, water, and earth all have these innate properties that we tend to associate with white magic, and for certain purposes. But actually, there's more ways to use those. Actually, wind isn't always, wind, the way that people in Hingashi, for example, understand wind is similar but distinct from the way that Gridania does. And that might lead to breakthroughs. It would have been really great to see all of these peoples come together and actually, like, make progress on what white magic is, and maybe even find ways that white magic can be wielded safely outside of the Pajol. But instead, we primarily focus on people abusing white magic. And I find it really unfulfilling in the broadest sense that we never really see someone outside of our understanding of white magic really succeed without our guidance. Right? I think there's a lot of storytelling that could be there, but that's only if you're willing to kind of, like, shake the foundations of the understanding of the job and that. Which would require a lot of foresight, granted, in terms of, like, actually designing skills and stuff like that. Like, a lot of the job quests tend to have overarching themes, but they're not, like... But it's more like leaving threads for a further job quest to pick up and handle as they would, right? I don't think it's, like, planned. You know, they didn't plan the job quests up until Stormblood, when they were in ARR, right? And, like, it's not the biggest deal in the world, but I do at least want to point it out, because it... Considering some of the storytelling in the later parts of this game, when it comes to the tribes and their relationship to the city-states, I think looking back on this and seeing the absence of, like, a different cultural view on conjuring and white magic, I'm not going to say I wasn't expecting it to buck that, but I'm still kind of just like, oh, it's kind of consistent with the writing up until this point, that the tribes are... I guess, like, the... Sorry, I'm about to use a lot more technical terms for this kind of shit. The cultural hegemony's understanding of all of these magics is the understanding of the magic. And there's nothing to be gained there. But, like, funnily enough, I feel like Black Mage actually goes into that a bit more, where, like, there's a whole bunch of, there's obviously a unifying energy we're talking about when we talk about black magic, but that actually literally had People from, it had some Ixal, it had some kobolds, it had some, oh my god, people who worship Ifrit. People who worship Ifrit. Why? The Amalja, right. It had someone from the, it had someone from the Amalja as well. Like, and it didn't really go into, like, the literal cultural understanding of it to a massive degree, but it had it enough there that you were working with these other people who come from very different walks of life to you, but you all have the goal of trying to understand and control black magic. And funnily enough, like, it's an interesting contrast with white mage, where there is, like, this again, hegemonic understanding of white magic that never gets challenged or anything. And I just find that kind of bland. Obviously, this Stormblood questline, I think was really good. It had a better through line, I think, than the rest of it, and actually took a random shot at Gridania that wasn't immediately hand-waved at the end of it. And the Shadowbringers follow-up, I think, was good. Nothing spectacular, but it is also cool to see, like, Alika, kind of, like, finding her place in that. And, like, actually, you know, turning over a new leaf. Which in itself is great, but, again, it's just, like, I don't find it interesting storytelling when you're first presented with this understanding of how this thing works, and then there's a bunch of people who don't like the impact that has on the rest of them, and that is just never challenged outside of, yeah, it kind of does suck, doesn't it? Maybe we should help people into a situation where they don't have to do that. But then nothing changes. Obviously, the White Mage quests aren't going to do that, but it's an unfortunate situation those quests find themselves in, I find, where it doesn't really follow that you wouldn't consider changes there. But again, that comes back to the Gridania storytelling, where the elements are just capricious, unknowable, and unreasonable beings that can't be reasoned with, to some degree. Yeah. So yeah, like, whilst I think there are definitely good pockets of it, and this isn't Paladin by any stretch of the imagination, I think both in certain circumstances and more broadly, the White Mage quests end up leaving a lot to be desired. And particularly from, like, an interesting standpoint, too. Because I feel like between, and to use Black Mage as the example again, between the two of them, I feel like White Mage would have a lot more to explore and say about different cultural understandings of those things, because one is this, because in Black Mage's case, it's this extant energy and force that is incredibly destructive that we need to come together to master. But for White Mage, it's this thing we all share that we might have different views on, but actually all of these are overlaid and kaleidoscoped in such a way that they're all true, and realizing that would be important to furthering the practice. But the practice is stuck in this culture within this game that cannot be questioned, cannot change to almost any degree, and thus you can't tell that story, right? Because that would involve change. And, yeah. I don't know. I think there are definitely good moments in this, but I don't particularly enjoy... I think there was a lot more potential here that's unfortunately missing. Yeah. I'm going to take a quick break and put away some dishes and that from breakfast. And when I come back, might throw a dungeon in, just try and get to level 81 on this and get myself into Endwalker dungeons. And I might talk a little bit about my plans for Dawn Trail. I'll probably echo them a bit, but yeah, if people are interested, I might talk about that Oh my god, words. No, I lost it. I'm gonna yap. Be right back. Alright, I'm back. So guess who got another call when they're on break? I don't even know if I want to still stream after that. I'm so fucking heated. Context isn't important, but basically just... Yeah, I got into a pretty heated argument with someone over something that shouldn't need this much discussion, but yeah, now I don't want to get into it. Because I really did want to kind of, like, keep, like, talking about shit, but I just don't know if I have it in me now. I'm so fucking annoyed. Yeah, no, I think, fuck it, we'll end it here. I don't think there's any reason for me to continue this if I'm, like, if I'm this pressed about it, or if I'm, like, if this is, like, put me off, like, this much, I think I just need to call it and cool off. Yeah, I hate to do that, but especially when, like, you know, I was like, oh yeah, let's do a big 14 stream today, and then Cole making me late, Cole interrupting the stream. It's just... Yeah. No, I think it's probably more sensible I just call it here, cool off, and yeah, just be done with it there. Yeah, so, long weekend's over. God, I wish it went longer. So yeah, nothing too special during the week. Obviously Elden Ring and, 14 up in the air. Yeah, I want to try and do, the Four Lords. I also realized something odd is that I don't remember when, but apparently I started that questline off stream, and I've done the first dungeon with Aldine. So I need to figure out where I am in that questline, do it with someone else until that point, and then move over to doing it with Aldine. Because Four Lords are a requirement for Tataru's Grand Venture, and I'm not going to get that done before Dawn Trail, I think, but yeah. Ma'am? Hi. Welcome to my personal space. Or geometry. So yeah, kind of, yeah, random stuff's gonna happen during the week, I hope, so long as this week doesn't also kick my ass. And then on the weekend, I won't be streaming Saturday, because I'll be busy. Either that or I might fit in, like, a short one in the afternoon. I don't know, we'll see how that goes. And then on Sunday, hopefully Ace Attorney. In terms of broader goals for Dawn Trail, I still kind of want to solidify what exact dates I'm going to do, but my broad plan for Dawn Trail is that I'm not going to start MSQ day 1. The thing I'm going to start day 1 is Pictomancer leveling. So, actually, do I have a calendar I can show? I have a calendar I can show. I guess I could do a screen capture instead and just do it from there. Hang on. Oh, you know what? we can use Paint and I can look at this. That's not what I wanted to do. Why is the canvas so big? What the fuck? Okay. Overlays, where's Paint? Paint? This notepad. Oh, is it in stream structure, maybe? Chrome chat label. is. Where did my paint thing go? Oh, there it is. Why are you there? Okay, that's weird. Cool, there we go. Bam. There it is. Okay, so. Well, actually, I'll make it larger for everyone here. So, the basic plan is... Oh, I didn't capture that correctly. Hold on a second. Someone petting my otter. Try this again. I didn't capture as much as I should have. You don't save. There we go. A. Okay, so... brush color, there we go. Cool. So, Dawn Trail, early access starts here. Friday my time. Well, Friday night my time. And at this stage, I am going to get in on early access, but I'm not going to be starting MSQ there. Oh, and for reference, this is the actual release date, the 2nd. So I think what I'm planning on doing is on this weekend here, actually starting MSQ. So I've got like a week to kind of chip away at Pictomancer leveling, and a little bit of time to let people go through the MSQ as well. I did this, or I ended up doing a bit delayed for Endwalker. Well, actually, no, I don't think I did delay it for Endwalker. I think I was in on day 1. And obviously this means I might be, I'm opening myself up to spoilers a little bit. But I'm gonna mute, like, 14, like, entirely and just not use my 14 Twitter account or anything like that to, make sure I don't get spoiled. But, yeah, I think this is the day, or this is the weekend that I'm gonna start streaming the MSQ. And I'm probably gonna take some time off after that weekend, as well, to, not necessarily stream it, depending on, you know, how far I get through it and stuff like that. But yeah, just some time off for me because I fucking need it. But yeah, so Endwalker pre-release is the 28th. I'm thinking the weekend after that, I will start streaming MSQ. But I'll be doing Picto, throughout the other days. Probably streaming it, because obviously there's the job quest to it, so I don't really want to miss out on that. But yeah, it may not entirely be streamed, because I haven't leveled a DPS off the bat, or I haven't ever gone into an expansion with a job that needs leveling, because it starts out at 80, and you build it up to 90, and then you start Dawn Trail. So I need to get like 10 levels of stuff to go, or 10 levels of Pictomancer to actually be able to start Dawn Trail as that. And I figure because of the way that, you know, a lot of people are going to be jumping on Viper and Pictomancer, I kind of need to, I need to give myself a fair amount of time to actually do that. Well, yeah, I need to give myself a fair amount of time to do it if I'm trying to get levels at all, doing traditional leveling kind of stuff. But in terms of MSQ, it's the best time to, level a DPS. And then I can go back and, like, level up a healer, because I'm gonna be healing Savage. But yeah, that's my rough plans. I don't know exactly how I'm gonna do it. There, like, in Endwalker, for example, I did, like, 4-hour blocks of two 4-hour blocks of streaming a day when it came out. And I don't think it'll take me as long to get through it there, but, that seemed like a good rhythm to it. Basically, like, a modified version of my PoE streams, but, like, not as long, basically. Or not for, you know, the 10 hours for PoE. Yeah, I think that's probably a good rhythm to keep there, but obviously tentative. I don't know if my plans are going to be there. I don't know, like, I need to figure out if my leave's going to work out there too. But, yeah, those are my rough plans. Hey, Charles, how's it going? Kind of wrapping up. I got through a little bit of what I wanted, or I got through the White Mage quest that I wanted to, and then on the break, I got a, upsetting phone call. Not anything serious, just irritating. And it's just killed the mood for me, so yeah. This is gonna be a vibey stream, but if my vibes are I'm fucking annoyed at a person, yeah, it's probably not gonna be good. So I was just talking about Dawn Trail plans, where 28th is the release, and I'm probably gonna start doing MSQ. Here. But yeah, I'll try and solidify those plans a little bit more. Honestly, do I want to do the job quest I haven't done on stream before I do a tier list? It might be fun to do a tier list on the 22nd, because that's the last Saturday I'll have before I'm in full Dawn Trail mode. And the point at which streaming 14 is probably only going to be Pictomancer. It probably isn't going to mean that I'm going to stream Pictomancer leveling on Saturday and this Saturday instead, but yeah, I don't know. Anyway, this outro has gone out way too long, so yeah, I'm going to leave it there then. Yeah, and there's no one really to raid, so I'm going to future Picto. Yeah, well, funny thing is, Charles, I'm not going to be, I'm going to be healing in my static for Savage when the first raid releases. But I want to level Picto because everyone's going to be leveling a DPS, and the MSQ is like the one time I think I could reliably level a DPS in this time. But yeah, I think we'll leave it there. Yeah, so kind of interrupted week until Dawn. There's going to be a lot of 14 until Dawn Trail, and then there's going to be a lot of 14 when Dawn Trail releases. And that's kind of going to be the through line, other than Ace Attorney. So, yeah. So, thank you very much for watching, live or on the VODs. Jesus Christ, the construction outside sounds like it's happening on my house. Thank you very much for watching, live or on the VODs. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you all next time.